It is March the 21st. What do we need to be aware of today? That is the Death card. And that is the Three of Cups. Maybe there's some sort of leaving old behind and embracing the new. We're all living a little differently these days. Ten of Cups. Happy relationships. There comes the sun at my house. Let's see. So the very first card, it's called Realization here. Normally this is the Judgment card. Awareness. There's a huge amount of awareness that has taken place lately. Awareness of how our systems work and don't work. What's important and what's not important. How fragile things are. Next card, Five of Pentacles. Temporary hardship. In this card, this figure is turning away from the light. Or has his back to the light, doesn't see the light. So to him or to her, right now things may look bad. I also see holes punched in this person. There are 5 holes punched in this person like they're missing something. They're not seeing the light. They're missing a piece of the puzzle. And then outcome, we have 8 of Swords. This is a voluntary, although possibly unaware that it is voluntary, restriction, constriction. When you see a blindfold on a figure, they are oftentimes putting themselves in this situation because they're in a point in life where they're in transition. Now in this case, her restriction in this card, her restriction is actually causing her pain, and the wires or whatever those are around her legs are actually cutting into her legs. So this is not a situation that she needs to stay in for very long, or he or she. Oftentimes this is what happens when it's time to get a different perspective. The current way of thinking is no longer working. The current way of thinking is causing restrictions. Also, feeling confined. This is just on the precipice of having a new awareness, but there's needs to be a change in perspective in order to see that, to get out of this painful situation, what looks to be a painful situation in this card. A new perspective is needed. And that's exactly what this person will get once they take off that blindfold. Now her hands are free, so she can take off the blindfold and look at the situation and get a different perspective if she chooses to. This is almost also a stubbornness, being stubborn. So this is some sort of transitory period where we may feel restricted and like something is a hardship. So I'm going to pull one more card for an advice on how to handle this. Like, this is an awareness. I asked, what do we need to be aware of? So be aware of not seeing the light, not seeing the new perspective. Things have happened that have caused us to have a new awareness of things, but we need to see how to get this different perspective, how to get this guidance, how to become aware of a new perspective so we don't feel constricted and confined. Of course, this may be something that we need to go through right now. No, growth doesn't come easily sometimes. Sometimes we need to be confined and things be a little different for us so that we can learn the lesson. So what is the advice for this situation? I'm thinking the advice is just to move through it, experience it, understand that this is an important phase that a lot of us are going through. It can be very difficult to see things from a different perspective. Let's see. What is the advice? The world. So this is the advice is to get a broader perspective. We need a broader perspective. We need to step back and step up and get a broader and higher perspective. And concentrate on the accomplishments that are being made at this time. Look at the accomplishments that are being made or will be made. This is a cycle. This is the end of a cycle. A cycle is ending. This is telling us that a cycle, a way of doing things is ending and a new one can begin. We've finished with a current cycle and we're moving on to something brand new. So think about that. It's okay to feel restricted and to not be able to see things. Maybe sometimes this is about isolating yourself so that you can get a different perspective. Being aware that you need a different perspective, but just not quite being able to see it yet. So this perspective is going to come from looking outside yourself. Thanks, guys.